Hey everybody, I'm back at the table, ready to continue some more Dungeons and Dragons 4th edition roleplay war game board game. Let's continue the adventure. We've got our two dwarves, a couple of healing surges down. They've been dealing with some extreme heat and a minor battle with some cultists of the dragon Ashardalon. Let's take a look at our skills challenge progress tokens. So even though the DCs are a little lower in the Dungeon Master's Guide 2, we've already racked up 2 failures. However, we're a little over halfway with our successes. Let's see if we can press on. Remember, if we can finish this track and get to the Duragar camp, it's going to be more of a standard encounter. If we get failures, one more failure, then we're in for some rough times. All right, we're ready for another attempt at the skills challenge here. Eldith, it is her turn. They've just had an encounter, and the mage, one of the cultists that could wield some magic powers, mimicking some dragon-like abilities with fire and thunder, has retreated. So they quickly decide that they need to find an alternate path because they're sure that he's gone to alert somebody. And whether that will be more guards coming, we don't know. But we're going to try an athletics check here for Eldith. And that's a great roll. That's another success. So we'll move our tracker down. We just need 2 more successes. Well, they are running. Eldith in the lead. Our hammer dwarf fighter close behind. Can he keep up? We're going to make an athletics check for him as well. Same DC, but he is not as skilled as she is. And that's still good enough. With a 14 plus another 5, he manages to keep up. All right, this is looking pretty good. We're down to the wire here. One more success or one more failure. All right, this is all up to Eldith and making one more check. It's going to be perception. So we make our way to a bit of a fork in the road. We'll just make our map over here. And she's got to make a quick call. Probably one of these ways can lead to a patrol of some kind or some other challenge, and the other way will be the correct way and we'll get him there quicker. So let's see how she does. We're going to go with a standard check of 12. Her perception is only 3. Oh! We chose poorly. So, despite the lower DCs from the Dungeon Master's Guide 2, we have failed our skill challenge. So, just my thoughts on that. I think that I kind of liked those DCs. It would allowed us to use a wide variety of skills. I was actually marking down which character had used what skill so that they wouldn't repeat themselves. And I think we had some nice variety there. So our heroes round the corner, and perhaps it would have been possible to come in through a different way, or perhaps just at a slightly different time, but they managed to come into the Duragard prison area where they're holding their slaves. And this is going to be a hard encounter. Well, one of the joys as a dungeon master or game master referee for 4th edition, one of the joys was just the simplicity, the clear guidelines in creating an encounter. And it was fun. It was fun to get your budget and put together different sets of creatures or whatever you wanted to do to make that encounter interesting. So we are looking at 2-player characters. We're trying to go for a hard encounter, which is 2 to 4 levels higher than the party's level. Well, there's only 2 of us, and we don't have all the different classes covered, the different roles covered, so we don't really have a healer with us or anything like that. So let's just go from level 5, which is what we are. Let's boost that up to level 7, and that would be approximately 300 experience points per character. So we're going to look at about a total of 600. If we were to go a little higher than that and go up to 700, we're looking at an 8th level encounter. So somewhere between 600 and 700 points, probably going to be our target. So why don't we start off with the Monster Manual 2. The Monster Manual 2 had some great Duergar entries. So let's head into there. I think there is a kind of a leader there that I want to put into this encounter who might make a good jailer or a good boss for this encounter. Let's find him first. So I really like the entry for the Duergar Theurge. We're looking at a level 5 controller, and what he's got here is he's got just a huge variety of things, very thematic. That's another thing about the stat blocks again in 4th edition. You just had these different abilities, often unique to this particular entry. And so he's got his Warhammer. He's also able to shoot fiery bolts and infernal quills. He's able to blast you with a wave of despair, rain down brimstone hail, and also put out some poisonous fumes with his magic. Lots of interesting stuff there. I think he would make a pretty powerful leader to this encounter, and it's an appropriate level, but he's going to have a lot of help boosting his, he's going to have a lot of minions working for him. So in the Monster Manual 2, we do have some soldiers here, Duergar guards. However, I'm wanting to put a bunch of guards in here, and that's really going to crank up the difficulty because these are level 4 soldiers. I'm kind of interested in more minions. So I don't think I'm going to use this particular guard entry. That's just going to take us up with the number I'm imagining in here. That's going to take us up a bit too high. Well, here is the Monster Vault. It is an essentials book. But one thing we're going to do in this battle, since it's kind of the climactic battle, is we're not going to go with double damage and half health for the enemies. We're going to go with sort of a standard encounter. This is kind of the main focus of the adventure, and it's a hard encounter. So instead of soldiers, why don't we go with some Duergar thugs? That way we can put, why don't we say maybe three of these guys in the room. So that will give us a chance to use our figures from the board game. These 3 Duergar guards, they're going to be represented by the thugs there. Why don't we make some use of our orc figures? Let's take a look and see if we can find some good orc minions to add to this battle. There we go, orc savages. These are about the same as the Duergar thugs. So these guys will make good minions working for the jailer there. We'll put 3 of these guys in the encounter too. Well, what if we bring our cultist back? Maybe he ran away from the last encounter in order to go find reinforcements, and maybe this is where he went. And he's trying to get reinforcements from the Duergar boss here. So pleading for him to loan him some Duergar guards and orc savages to come and kill these invaders. So that would bring back our human mage, 175 here. He's artillery, so he's good at sort of blasting from the sides. So maybe we'll use him in this encounter. So we're setting up the battlefield. Let's say that our human cultist came running in up here to speak with our Duergar leader, the jailer, and he's up here by the prison cells, by the jail cells. These prisoners, using components from the board game, just like I am the dark gray Duergar and orc figures. And these prisoners all have names and even a few little tactics listed should they be able to somehow get out during the battle. So our adventurers are coming up on this scene. We are going to be playing this with, again, the standard rules. The only thing that will be adjusted is creatures that do not come from the Monster Vault or Monster Manual 3. That means these, well, I guess it would be these two figures here, Monster Manual 1 and 2. They will have their static damage modifier doubled. And that's just to adjust some of the math to get it a bit more in line, increasing their damage output. And the figures everybody else will be as they are. And we're not going to be halving or cutting in half the hit points here. We're going to do a full scale battle here. Our budget reached 639 points, so that's decent. That's a hard encounter for these two adventurers. We do not have healers, and so let's imagine that each of our heroes is equipped with a healing potion. I think that's very reasonable for some 5th level adventurers. So one potion of healing each, and you got to have some actions and available to do that. You might even risk, I think, some opportunity attacks if you try to drink a potion while somebody's taking a swing at you. So it does make things a bit more difficult should we need that healing later. But let's play this out and see what happens. Well, upon viewing the room, Eldith's heart sinks a little bit. She doesn't spot Vistra in the cages across the other side of the chamber. She does see Alec, a villager, and she sees Cassie over there. There is a dwarf, Donal. He's in the center cage. A young boy, Brandis, and a woman named Elazar. And as soon as they spot the adventurers coming in from the entranceway, we're going to say that maybe they recognize at least Eldith, as she has gained some fame for trying to protect the village of Longbridge. And perhaps some of them shout out, we're saved, or look. Then we can imagine the jailer turning and the different minions in the room. Perhaps a little bit of brief dialogue as people start to ready their weapons. Negotiations break down. He's telling them to surrender. They're demanding that the prisoners be freed. And it's time to roll for initiative.